You have just made the best decision of your day by choosing to listen to the Holistic Bitches Unfiltered podcast with me, Lesley Rubinoff, the OG Holistic Bitch. You're guaranteed to laugh, have a what the fuck moment, and truly be inspired to change small things in your life that will have you reaping the rewards of living a truly holistic life, mind, body, and soul. Welcome back to the Holistic Bitches Unfiltered podcast with me, Lesley Rubinoff, your host, the OG Holistic Bitch. And today is going to be a really interesting, fascinating, mind-blowing eye-opener to what really is quantum healing and light healing. And I'm so excited to have Leanne Venier today. She is a two-time medical award-winning innovator of Rejuvenator Therapy, Science of Light Therapy, pioneer, engineer, former submarine designer, Eastern medicine physician, medical researcher, international award-winning artist and professional speaker. And she's going to teach us today all about color and quantum photonics, I think, light therapy, how it can heal your body, reverse aging, reduce our stress, improve sleep, and make you look and feel younger without putting Botox and fillers in. And I am all about that. So, Leanne, welcome to the Bitches podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Lesley. I'm really excited to talk with you and your audience today.
Yeah, and they're gonna learn a lot, and I've already learned a lot just in a short time knowing you, and obviously being a consumer of what you have to offer. So I'm really excited, and let's kind of like jump right into it. I think because a lot of people are familiar with red light therapy, and everyone and their brother and their mother sell a red light panel. They're expensive, and they're mainly made in China. And I want you to really break it down, what that is and why it's not maybe effective. And I know that I ordered a huge panel that must weigh like 40 pounds. I unpacked it and it sat on the floor for 3 years and I never turned it on. And then I got your epicness in a box and I got right to work. So go for it, Leanne. Start telling everybody all the things.
Okay, so first of all, when you said I'm the pioneering light therapy expert, I'm actually the one that validated the science of light therapy for the masses in the medical community starting 17 years ago. So when I was working as an Eastern medicine physician, what I was seeing over and over again, that so many people were getting sick and chronically ill and with cancer, and I was specializing in cancer treatments, and so many people were getting sick because they were avoiding sunshine. And I was trying to tell people, it's like sunshine is a vital nutrient. You need to get sunshine just as importantly as you need food and water. And you also need to spend time in nature. So spending time in sunshine in the middle of the city is not enough. But anyway, so it started with me when I was a professional artist, my giant color field paintings. People would have these extremely strong responses, emotional responses and physical responses to the colors in the paintings. So that's kind of where it started, where one-on-one conversations, I would explain to them, I'd say, oh, if you're really drawn to that particular color, it may mean you have this going on in your body and this going on in your life. Because I could tell where their imbalances were based on the colors that they were craving. And they were like, oh my God, that's exactly what's going on in my life and in my body right now. How do you know that? And so I would explain one-on-one. Anyway, it grew from there. So people started asking me to, teach about this, put some on my website, which took me 3 years to get around to doing. As soon as I put some of this information on my website about how color and light heal, then I started getting contacted by major medical universities to come and lecture there, teach the medical students and the medical doctors from a scientific perspective and a real world, experiential perspective, how this actually works. So my teaching started going viral, and then, spreading, bloggers, journalists, everybody contacting me for interviews and wanting to understand how this works. So I connected the dots between all these disparate fields of study, biophotonics, which is the study of biological photons, meaning particles of light, how they affect the physical body. Research that's been going on since the 1970s, other research that's been going on since the turn of last century, using colored light. So this isn't a new field of study, but nobody was hearing about it. Nobody was giving it any credence, because it's such a mind, shift for so many people to think that light can have these healing properties. Light does have healing properties. It's limited in what it can do, however, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. So then when I was telling people and teaching, I connected it all with sunlight. It's like the reason that we do have these responses to color, visual color that you see, in your room or on your furniture, on your wall or on your clothing, and color that's within light. So I told them it's because we evolved to live and thrive under sunlight. And then I broke it down. Sunlight has all of these colors within the visible light spectrum. And back then, nobody was talking about anything about sunlight and having color in sunlight. They were just starting to talk about UVB and vitamin D connection. That was just brand new information that was coming out. So, 17 years ago is quite a while. So anyway, I started teaching. I connected the dots between physics, biophysics, and then how the light spectrum works, how medical research has shown that we have these physiological responses to different frequencies. And back then, the primary colors that had already been researched were red and blue. Those were the areas that were, and that has a lot to do with how research gets funded. And we could get off on a whole tangent about that. But nonetheless, so I basically I made the science really easy for lay people and medical doctors to understand, because medical doctors don't understand physics, they understand chemistry. So I broke down the physics in such an easy way that everybody could understand it very, very easily, like even a child. Connected it with everyday experience, and connected color and light, because they are the same thing. They're exactly the same thing. You can't have color in your room without light. If there's no light in the room, everything turns shades of gray or black. And you can't have light without color within it. So that's why you have every light bulb that you have in your home has color within it. You might have cool bulbs, which have more blue, and you might have warm bulbs, which have more red, yellow, and orange. So every light has color within it. Every color cannot be seen without light to illuminate it. So basically my earliest videos, validating the science of light therapy. So after a handful of years, then, and it's literally spreading virally, and more bloggers picking up and literally watching my videos on YouTube, and then writing articles about them almost verbatim from my teachings. So as with everything, we saw it happen with the essential oil industry. You have somebody that starts teaching about the value of essential oils. Of course, Young Living and doTERRA, they were selling a product, so their teachings were tied with a product. I was teaching about the science of light therapy and not wanting to sell any product. I didn't want to promote any product. I didn't want to sell a product. I didn't want to manufacture any product. But anyway, that's part of the history. So nonetheless, I'm creating, an industry, and then everybody and their brother gradually starts, oh, hey, you know what? We can go on Alibaba and get an industrial plant grow light and rebrand it as a light therapy device, which is what a high percentage of them, including that one that you have sitting on your floor, came from industrial plant grow lights. Those giant, enormous things, they were designed to blast out huge amounts of light to grow plants. And it was the marijuana industry that really started propagating a lot of the research in the plant light therapy realm, if you want to think of this treating plants. But it's called, I can't even remember it, for growing plants. Anyway, grow lights. So basically, that's where my teachings started, and then they started creating this glut of people flooding the light therapy market with products that were either not working or minimally effective or downright harming people. And I was getting approached by a lot of these new sellers that, most of them coming from a marketing background, not from a medical or healing background. And again, some of the biggest names in this industry, their background is in marketing. So they, without having any understanding of how healing actually works. So, and basically they're seeing a new market and they're like, hey, you know what? We can buy these things. They're already made, you know, order them for $100 and sell them for like $1,000 or more. Because now a lot of them are like going up and up and up and up in prices. And that's all they are, is an industrial plant grow light. So when I was getting approached by some of these companies, and this happened in 2016, multiple companies back to back that were launching their own. Well, they actually had already been trying to sell their products and they couldn't because people just got a bad vibe from them. So they approached me wanting me to promote their product to my, you know, millions of followers and the people that had learned about light therapy from watching my YouTube videos. And so they send me their product. I'm like, you know what? I'm more than happy to tell people about any products that actually work. So yeah, you know, like, and then they send me their thing, and I'm like, and like the one that you have sitting on your floor, I'm like, oh no, you know, this is such a bad idea. This is such a bad idea. And it's actually, it's not only going to be minimally effective, if at all effective, for people that are actually sick, this is actually going to make them worse. And then that proved to be true. So a lot of people that come into the Rejuvenator community started with one of those giant monstrosities that you hang on your wall and then you have to stand in front of it. And they actually got worse quite quickly. Not only because of the high levels of EMF that are blasted out from those things, which is why they don't tell you why. You have to stand at least 6 to 12 inches away, and they say that's for the optimal treatment distance. It's because they have such high levels of electromagnetic frequencies that are blasting out from these things. That's how far away you have to be to not be like literally blasted with this radiation from these devices. So all of that, fast forward, you know, like I said, 17 years ago is when I started teaching about all of this. And for 10 years, I had so many people that were like, Leanne, you really need to sell and, you know, manufacture and create your own light therapy product line. I'm like, nope, don't have any interest in doing that. Don't want to go back into engineering. I used to be an engineer designing submarines, and I didn't understand at the time. That was really my big, you know, reluctance. I didn't want to do anything that felt like I was going back into engineering, you know, designing and manufacturing my own product. And of course, I've got the perfect background to do exactly that, because the engineering background plus my Eastern medicine physician work and all the alternative healing work that I've done for decades before that. Anyway, nonetheless, 10 years, I said, nope, not doing it. I refuse to manufacture and sell a device. I'm happy to help other people promote their products if somebody actually makes something that is effective and safe. But otherwise, I don't care. I had all these people that wanted to pay me 50 to 60% of the sell price. Like, that's how much they wanted me to promote their product to their, you know, to my followers. And I'm like, nope, I'm not. I don't care how much you're going to pay me. I am not going to ever promote something that is going to be harmful to people. So thanks, but no thanks. So anyway, it was basically this series and sequence of companies approaching me back to back, all of them selling products, different types. One was a circadian resetting device that was shining blue-green light into the eyes. And I'm like, are you not aware that frequency actually harms the eyes and you're blasting it right into people's eyes? And then another company, a so-called near-infrared sauna company, you know, that it's like, your thing doesn't have near-infrared. It has infrared, and it has a tiny, tiny, minuscule amount of near-infrared. Anyway, basically all these unethical companies selling their products, part of it based in ignorance and part of it but after I tell you something and you continue to use false deceptive marketing, that for me is like, okay, I'm now I feel like I created this whole, you know, market, and there are so many people that are abusing it. So that was where I finally am like, oh my God, I guess, you know, like, let me see what's involved with doing this. And I ended up that same year, at the end of the year, I was already hired to speak at the Bulletproof Conference in Pasadena. I was one of the 5 or 6 speakers that they had for that conference, including the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus guy. What's his name? John something. Anyway, I they gave me a booth for that conference. They gave me a booth, and I said, well, yeah, I'll do some. I didn't have any product at the time. I said, well, yeah, I'll do some kind of interactive learning, experiential thing. But then I'm like, after the sequence of companies that approached me that were selling harmful devices, potentially harmful to anybody with chronic illness, that was where I'm like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to do this. So I ended up launching the Rejuvenator at that conference, and we were inundated. We had so many people. People couldn't walk through the aisle because we were and we weren't doing anything. This is before I even gave my talk. Anyway, all that to say, the universe said, it's time to do this. You need to do it. Quit refusing to do it and step up to the plate. So, long story short,
hold on. We're on like this tangent, and I want to make it. I want people to understand. So, first of all, can you explain what the mass market is selling and why it's not effective? And then we're going to talk about what your product is and why it's so amazing and how it works.
Right.
So
okay, so the whole history, yeah, I probably gave more detail, but I gave that history to show that when I finally decided to launch my own, quote unquote, light therapy product line, I'm like, light therapy alone is not enough. Light therapy can't elicit full root level healing. It can help with certain symptoms and help, address certain skin issues. So when I launched the Rejuvenator, I'm like, I'm not going to launch a light therapy product because light therapy alone is not enough. So I wanted to create a product that addresses the energy body and the quantum energy system. We are beings of energy and light. So everything that happens in the physical body is downstream from what happens in the energy body. Now, to understand the energy body, I always use the analogy, think of yourself as a car, okay? You have our car is our physical body. This is what gets us through this lifetime. So we want to take good care of our car, but sometimes people don't. They take better care of the car that's parked in their driveway than the car that's taking them through life. So your car has, this exterior, and you can repaint your car. You can, fix all the dings and scratches. You can clean out the tubing and all of that stuff. You can replace bad parts. But if you don't put gas in your gas tank, it doesn't matter how much cosmetic stuff you do to that car. It's still not going anywhere. So that's where the Western and supplements approach focuses on fixing the physical aspects of the car without understanding that the problem is that there's no gas in the gas tank. So when people have chronic illness or even the beginnings of illness, that starts depleting your gas tank. And the gas in the human is our life force energy. There are different names for it: chi, prana, ki, depending on which culture. But basically, life force energy is the thing that animates you and gives you life. Western medicine doesn't even acknowledge that, the existence of that physics and that energy that is within our physical bodies. It's the thing that keeps you alive. That's why in Western medicine, they take out chunks of flesh and they put them into a petri dish, or they take out organs and they put them into a petri dish, or they grow cells in a petri dish. They're not animated life force. There's no life force energy going through those. So when they study bodies, they study cadavers. That's a dead piece of flesh. It's not a living animated thing. So everything in Western medicine focuses on the chemistry. But in order to understand true root level healing, you have to look at the physics aspects. But people get, it's like, physics, I don't understand. So basically, it's just the thing that differentiates you, Lesley, sitting here speaking with me now, versus you, Lesley, laying on the floor dead. That's like, you could be here 1 minute and gone the next. If your life force energy leaves, then you're no longer alive. So if your gas tank gets so depleted, your life quality keeps going down and down. Just like your car, or if you want to think of a cell phone, when your battery gets so low, like it's on, 5% battery, 3% battery, none of the apps work anymore. And then the whole phone just shuts down, right? So we have to recharge our cell phone battery. We have to put gas in our car if we want to keep it going. we have to put our life force energy gas into our bodies. When people live in cities and they don't get out in nature, this is the way that we historically have gotten our gas tanks filled up, is by going out in nature. Sunlight won't fill up your gas tank. Sunlight will provide very specific healing benefits through the light and the UV and the infrared and the near infrared and all of that. But for example, if you think of laying in the sun in the middle of New York City, there's all that toxic energy, Wi-Fi, electricity, chaotic energy being blasted out from all the high stress people. All of that is basically like straws stuck in your life force energy gas tank, and they're all like sucking out your life force energy. Every time you have a stressful experience, if you think about, let's say you get into an argument with somebody and then you feel exhausted afterwards, or let's say you're driving somewhere and somebody cuts you off in their car and you like you have that high stress fight or flight response, and then you feel depleted and exhausted. That's just like somebody zapped you and sucked a bunch of your gas out of your gas tank. So unfortunately, a lot of people go through life and their gas tank keeps getting lower and lower and lower, and they're not doing anything to fill up the gas tank. So again, historically, we would go, you spend time in nature. When people get so exhausted and they're like, I just want to go and lay on a beach somewhere. I'm so tired. I want to go lay on a beach, or I want to go, be in the woods surrounded by giant trees or on a lake, or, you crave that. And people don't often realize what they're craving is being surrounded by that life force energy, which is abundant in nature and it's deficient in cities. So cities are not only deficient in that life force energy, they have all kinds of things that are constantly sucking more of your life force energy. That's why, you can go into a city and you can get that high energy vibe. It's like you're like drinking a Red Bull, which has a huge amount of caffeine, and you're like, but then you feel that energy crash afterwards. Or some people can live in that kind of environment for a very long time, but they keep getting more and more depleted, and they get more sick, and they're constantly under stress. They have like constant underlying anxiety. The anxiety can turn into depression. Anyway, all of that then ends up manifesting as physical illness and disease in the body. And we know this through research also. I mean, we've known about the stress connection and the, how it affects the physical body for many years. I mean, that's been scientifically proven. So the ideal situation is to, if you do live in a city, take frequent breaks, get out into nature as often as you can, and recharge your life force energy battery that way. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that luxury, or they live in such a big city. For them to get out in the country would be like a 2-hour, 3-hour endeavor just to get out of the city. So the Rejuvenator literally fills up the life force energy gas tank. It puts energy into the system, which is why, like when you got yours, people immediately go, oh my God, this feels amazing. You don't have to tell yourself, oh, I should do a Rejuvenator treatment. Like I should do a treatment with that thing that's been laying on my floor for 3 years because I wasted all that money. People don't have to tell themselves to do the Rejuvenator treatments, because it's kind of like, oh my God, it's like you've been in a desert for 3 years and somebody finally gives you a glass of water and you're like, oh my God, water, like just give me more and more. So that's what the Rejuvenator is doing. And it has light therapy as a portion of its healing formulation. So, and it has a synergistic blend of frequencies so that they harmonize together instead of just randomly picking different, wavelengths of light based on, I read this research study and this is good for this and that and the other thing. Certain frequencies of light will harmonize together, just like notes on a musical keyboard. So I'm also a classical pianist. So when you play multiple notes on like a piano, if you've ever heard somebody that's learning to play the piano and it's disruptive because they're hitting all the wrong notes and they don't harmonize together, and you like, I have to leave the room because this child is practicing the piano, it sounds terrible. Versus when somebody knows how to play the piano, you put 3 notes together that form a chord, it's harmonizing and healing. That musical, it has a stronger healing benefit than a single note. So the Rejuvenators have these specific formulations that are harmonizing frequencies for the light therapy portion, and then the quantum healing energies that literally fill up the gas tank. So there's no light therapy device that fills up the gas tank. They don't put energy into the system. What other light therapy devices will do, they'll take the energy that's already in the system and they can call it to the cells wherever the light can reach, which is, superficial depth. So it can only go so deep. So it will take the energy that's in the system and like kind of stimulate the cells. But if your gas tank is running on fumes, there isn't enough available energy in the system to call there. And if there is anything, it will have an overstimulating effect. A lot of them that are like these super high intensity light that you have to wear the goggles to protect your eyes. You have to stand the 6 to 12 inches away. There's such a strong blast of light. It's actually disruptive to the physical body and the energy body. So that's where people that are already depleted will feel exhausted after standing in front of one of those, just like somebody who's caffeine sensitive. They're already sensitive to caffeine. So they're like, I can't drink coffee because it makes me jittery. So it's like giving that person that's already caffeine sensitive a Red Bull and say, hey, drink this. And then they're like, dancing off the walls and then feel terrible afterwards. So if you can relate to that, I don't know. But anyway, so the Rejuvenators put energy into the system. They also open up blockages because we have these energy channels throughout our body. They're called the meridians. Go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you said something. So the meridians are, and the analogy that I use for people that don't know what meridians are, that's what acupuncture works on, the meridians, the energy channels that go through the system. Acupuncture won't put energy into the system either, but it can open up blockages in the energy channels. So if you think of our house, our homes have transformers that bring energy into the house. That's like that. The analogy of the bringing life force energy into your physical body is like bringing energy from a transformer into your house. Then inside your house, you have electrical wiring behind the walls. That's what distributes that energy all throughout the house. And then you've got electrical outlets that come out at certain places on the walls. And that's where you can tap into the energy that's coming into the house. And you can plug in a lamp, or you can plug in your computer, or you can plug in whatever electrical device you want. You can't go and just plug your lamp into the drywall. You have to plug it into an electrical socket because that's where the electricity is accessible for you to tap into it. So the same thing in our physical bodies. There are acupuncture points, which are like the electrical outlets in our homes. That's where that life force energy comes to the surface, and it innervates that point. So what happens often when there is illness or disease or an organ that's not working properly, there's a blockage in that energy channel. Just like you can have a blockage in your electrical wiring or a short circuit in your electrical wiring. So in your physical body, that might result in, like, let's say somebody has, shoulder pain. And the gallbladder meridian goes through the shoulder. What I usually see when people have shoulder issues, it's usually related to stuck liver gallbladder energy and toxicity in the liver gallbladder system. So they might have shoulder pain. And then one day, like let's say they, travel and they pick up their suitcase and they go to put it on the security thing or whatever, they pick it up. Anyway, something they've done a million times before. And then all of a sudden, they injure the rotator cuff because that particular day, the energy hasn't been going through the shoulder properly. It's like there's a blockage in the energy channel. So the shoulder muscles aren't getting the energy that they need to be able to fire properly and keep the shoulder joint in place. So it starts off with pain and inflammation there because that shoulder isn't getting the energy that it's supposed to get. And then it can end up resulting in a serious injury because you go to pick up your suitcase or anything that, like even a 10-pound thing that you've picked up a million times before, and all of a sudden you injure the internal part of the shoulder because the muscles aren't doing the job that they're supposed to keep the shoulder joint in place. And that rotator cuff ends up getting torn because it's being suddenly expected to do a job that it was never designed to do. So there's nothing wrong with the shoulder. There's nothing wrong with the muscles of the shoulder. There's nothing wrong with the rotator cuff. The problem is that area is not getting the energy that it needs. So once you have an injury, then you have to not only heal the injury, but you also want to heal the root of why it got injured in the first place. So the way the Rejuvenator works, and again, you can have these blockages because the life force energy gas tank is low, and usually there are blockages in the energy channels that accompany that. If there's just not enough energy to distribute through the system, or there are blockages that happen along those energy channels. And these pretty much usually relate to emotional things that start the blockage. And I call them like beaver dams. It's kind of like, there's a beaver that comes, you've got a nice flowing river, and then a big beaver builds a giant dam, and everything downstream from the dam, all the plants, all the animals that were relying on that stream of water, they start to suffer because of the beaver dam. So the plants start dying, the animals start suffering, and they have to move somewhere else because they don't have any water. The animals start dying. So you don't treat the animals downstream. You don't treat the plants downstream because there's nothing wrong with them. They're just not getting the water that they need, just like your shoulder isn't getting the energy that it needs. So what you do is you go to the root of the problem and you get rid of the beaver dam so the water can start flowing again. So the Rejuvenator also does that, gets rid of the beaver dams where there are blockages in the flow of energy so that everything downstream then starts getting the energy that it needs again. Does that make sense? Sorry, I just went off on a very long explanation.
I'm learning too, and I think if we can summarize it and just do, just to so pull out all that amazing information you just get. Traditional red light therapy does what?
Traditional red light therapy just stimulates the cells. So you hear about, I've talked about this in my lectures, about it stimulates the mitochondria, which are the batteries, the powerhouses of the cells. So it's kind of like giving a temporary jump start to your batteries. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, what are so that's basic red light therapy. That's the technology. Now, are companies like Juve and all these other MitoRed and all these other companies, are they really doing anything more than putting a red light bulb behind a panel, or is there more to it?
No, that's all they're doing. That's why if you want just red light therapy, I mean, you can, and again, these are industrial plant grow lights rebranded as light therapy devices. I mean, you could go on Alibaba and get the exact same thing for like a tiny fraction of the price. They literally, that's exactly what they were doing. I mean, when they first launched, you could go and take the code and find it on Alibaba and and order the same thing for a fraction of the money. It's like the exact, but now they take the
okay. So at what point they're charging? I mean, Juve is very expensive, so they're charging like $1,000 for a panel. It's just bogus. It's just pure profit and marketing and gimmick bullshit.
Okay, you understand the concept of affiliate marketing, right? So
of course,
yeah, they were that was one of the. I was the first person that they approached way back when, 2016. Okay. They'd already had their product out. They were working their regular marketing full-time jobs, and one was in construction. Anyway, I don't want to diss other companies, but I just want people to be aware that a lot of that money that you're paying for these products goes to the people that are promoting those products. So any of the people that are endorsing it are getting paid. And again, 50 to 60% of the sell price, they're probably not that high anymore because, that was what they were just, really wanted somebody to promote their product for them. And I said no. And then they immediately went to somebody else that will promote any product if you pay them enough. I'm not going to say their name, but anyway, when you have affiliate marketing, when you hear about products, and it doesn't matter what product, some products are legitimately good, but frankly, products that are really good don't need to rely on affiliate marketing. because their customers sell their product for them. That's why I've refused from day one to do affiliate marketing. I've had so many people contact me, they want to be an affiliate, and I'm like, you can buy the Rejuvenator at the same price as everybody else. And you can use it and benefit from it, and then tell your friends and family members and spread the healing energy that way and pay it forward. So I have like thousands of medical doctors around the world. They prescribe because they've gotten such benefit from their own rejuvenators, and now they prescribe it to their patient. I don't pay them to do that. I don't pay them to tell their patients. I don't pay them to endorse the product. I don't pay anybody ever. I've never spent a dime on advertising, like you. When you have something that's really valuable for people, people are going to hear about it, and then they're going to want it. And so my customers spread the word. It's like,
Right.
that's the best way to sell a product that really works. So when you have affiliate marketing, you have people that are getting a kickback. They're getting a lot of money to promote that product because, they might have thousands of followers. So it's like, hey, I'm going to benefit from, I'm going to tell my followers about this product. And like you promote a lot of things and you don't get any money for doing it because it's like, this is a kick-ass product and I want people to know about it. So
Yes. And my audience is very familiar with what happened with the juicer, the Nama juicer, which
yeah,
I still send people to because I love the juicer, but I was just so disappointed in the company for not saying, I'm going to promote it anyways. Why not just share it? Like, I probably made over $1 million for that company. But
yeah,
also, just to be fair on that comment, is there are influencers like myself who do have an abundance of integrity.
yeah,
And if I could tell you how many companies have reached out to me to sell their supplements for 65% and to do all of the things, I've never said yes to any of those companies before. There's very
right.
few that I will give an affiliate link to. And it's because when I use the product myself and I really love it and I know the value of it,
Yeah.
or I'm not doing it. So there are definitely, and I see influencers all the time and it drives me crazy, especially
Mhm.
when they're in the wellness field and they're promoting garbage fucking product because they're
Yeah.
getting paid. That drives me insane. So I totally agree with you, but there are still a very minute minority of people who will do some affiliate marketing and take, whatever that's given, whether what an incentive or whatever it is, with good intention. But I do agree with
Yeah,
you that
no, and
the
I'm not saying everybody falls into that category, but unfortunately, what you
majority does.
often see is that people will then, it's like they'll be like, okay, well, I can choose between this product that's kind of lame, but they'll pay me a lot of money to promote it, or I can
Right,
tell my followers about this really good product, but they won't pay me anything.
right.
It's a psychological decision. It's like, well, and people will rationalize often. It's like, well, this is still pretty good. It's still pretty good. I'm not like giving my followers a bad thing.
Yeah, and
But
that's the majority. That's the problem, and I agree with
yeah,
you
yeah,
100%. And that's the
yeah.
problem with a lot of these stuff. So when we go back to the red light therapy, I mean, there's so many companies, and there's so many companies that popped up and just called themselves like red whatever, and they're selling like they've gone to Alibaba, exactly what you said. They've
Mhm.
brought their pricing to the competitor pricing, so it's very expensive. So
Yeah,
now the next thing that we should highlight is the EMS
yeah,
from
yeah.
those products.
That's a big problem. And again, you see this. It's like people, because sometimes people get their Rejuvenator and they're like, oh, I already watched some videos about how I should treat with red light therapy, and I know I need to keep it 6 to 12 inches away. I'm like, nope, no. I designed the Rejuvenator. It has like close to 0 EMF, so you put it directly on your body, and that's for adults, babies, pregnant women, pets. I mean, you name it. You put it directly against your body. It's completely safe to have it, and it feels amazing. So it's kind of like like somebody giving you a big hug. Well, you know how it
Yeah.
feels. So
And I'll say that, like, I think, what, Leanne, I think I've had mine for almost 3 weeks now, about.
yeah,
And it's become my evening routine. It's
hmm
become my evening routine. And once you guys become part of her community, you can start to really learn specific protocols of, a detox protocol, a sleep protocol, an immune protocol, kidney, everything. And I take 1 hour now at night before I get into bed, and I struggle through the last 20 minutes because I'm like passing the fuck out. But I do the detox, I do the kidney protocol. I often just throw it over my abdomen. I do like a 4 minute on my face, and then I go to do my 20-minute sleep protocol, which honestly, within the first like 7 minutes, I'm done. And I'm like, fuck, I need to unplug this. I need to like go to bed and do that. And, again, I'm relatively healthy, but I know the benefits that are coming from this, and I understand intuitively, and like Leanne's very intuitive. She talked to me about a lot about getting downloads, when she was in her creative process. And I wrote her a message the other day. I was like, oh my God, I had this like huge download about her product. And, I'm setting up what we call what Leanne terms coined an ER a room with several panels. But what I'm noticing already, my skin. So I will pick my face, like little hairs that come in on my chin. I'll pick them till the point that they become, just not happy. And like even after one treatment,
as opposed to like just plucking out the little hairs.
yeah, like I'll first like go for like the pull and the pick, and then I'll go to that. But anyways, the more you touch, like touching your face is just bad, no matter how much you clean your hands. But it cleared up a lot of that was going on my chin, and it took away a lot of, like, there were marks. I wouldn't call them scars, but it took that away. And I have good skin, but I watched already a change there. I'm starting to watch my HRV, which is the heart rate variability, start to finally rise when I sleep. I sleep deep as it is, but that was something that was concerning to me. And when I asked Leanne, she's like, well, there's an underlying reason why that's low. And I'm like, well, you're not wrong, So going through these protocols now, I'm starting to see what's happening. And I just know there's going to be some sort of significant transformation for myself that's going to be part of a bigger story. And I also know that, the energetic component to energy circling the right way within our chakra, I call them like the mini vortexes. I know that those are being better balanced. And I even had a Reiki session yesterday, and all of my centers were open. And that's the first time they've ever been like that. And I feel a lot more grounded. I feel a lot more connected. And I'm feeling that in a really short amount of time. And I'm excited to try. I have more stuff coming to me, but I just from this one panel, the amount of change that I'm already starting to feel as a well person is, I can't wait to share it with people who aren't well and to help people get better, and like yourself, people bond and earn trust amongst certain people, and having people's trust to share this with them is going to be such an integral part of their healing. And the fact that that's how your panels work is what I want you to, again, bulletproof why they work. Leanne has right now 4 different panels, a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. And she has more stuff that she's working on, which you could talk about. And I'm lucky to be getting one soon. Why is this so powerful? Why does it work so fast? Why can you put that right on your skin? Why can I let my dog look right into it? I mean, even for pets, the healing benefits. So I want people to understand this in the basic terms of why this is so effective and why it works so fast. And even a big question that I get, Leanne, is the detox protocol for, I call them vaccines, if you know what I mean.
Vaccines?
Yeah, the vaccines. I call them vaccines.
Vaccines. I thought you said Maxines.
I do. That's the code word on social media so that they don't shut me down. So we call them vaccines. So, for the people who made the choice to do that, this is something that I think is a big part of helping the mitochondria and the cells, and things do things a little bit better and help with even the cardiovascular system. So fill me in on everything I kind of just threw at you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so big picture. So, and again, I like to use metaphor and analogy because that grounds it for people, they can understand. So, when you go out in nature, you go out into the woods, you go out, you're laying next to a pristine, ocean, not like in Los Angeles, but like somewhere where you're in nature, the Caribbean or whatever, or you're in the mountains. That feeling that you get, how it feels energizing but relaxing at the same time? You're basically filling up your life force energy gas tank. You're surrounded by that chi, prana, life force energy. So the rejuvenators are doing that. That's why it feels amazing when you put it against your body. It's like you're just like, it's like you're out in nature. Like you get that same feeling because it's literally putting energy into the system. Again, no light therapy device does that because they're just the light component. So the light therapy component, again, I was talking about the synergistic blend. So it's a much stronger healing effect that harmonizes, but it's the quantum healing energies that carry the light, and the healing energies go deep into the body. They're not limited. Like a light therapy device can only penetrate so far into the body. It can't go very deep into the body. Different frequencies different wavelengths. Frequency is the inverse of the wavelength, but anyway, I won't get into that. But different wavelengths, that's usually what you see the term used, will only penetrate so far into the physical tissue. So that's why you see all these, marketing companies that are selling their version of light therapy. They really focus and they hit you hard with all this stuff about depth of penetration and, the number of joules, and they try to distract you and confuse you with all the science. Kind of like you want to go buy a laptop, and it's mind-boggling how they've created this confusion in this industry because they try to distract you with all the left brain sciencey stuff. So people then, it's like, oh my God, I have to understand what all this means. I have to understand depth of penetration. Now I have to compare joules and how strong it is. And it's all about the more is better philosophy. So some is good, a lot more must be even better, which it's absolutely not when it comes to healing. So again, the feeling of getting blasted with high intensity light is not pleasant at all. And it's actually harmful. That's why you have to you can literally blind yourself looking into these things. With the Rejuvenator, there's an eye protocol, a 3-minute eye protocol. You look directly into the light. We've had people that have healed all kinds of stuff, age-related macular degeneration, severe retinal thinning. Me, myself, I had severe retinal thinning from using my phone for so many years and staring into this blue light emitting screen for so many years. Severe retinal thinning, strengthening your eyes vision, like people in their 70s and 80s, all of a sudden, they don't need driving glasses anymore, or they don't need reading glasses, and they go to get their eyes checked, and their, eye doctor falls over almost because it's like, you're 85 and your vision is getting stronger. What the heck are you doing? So, and this is at all ages. Getting rid of floaters, eye flashing. Again, age-related macular degeneration and retinal thinning. I mean, you're literally losing your eyesight when that, So this is complete healing of those things. So you can't do that with other light therapy devices because you literally can harm your eyes and your vision. So I always tell people, do not try this with any other light therapy product, please. So it's the one thing I'm like, don't shine those into your eyes, because they're like, I don't know, a handful of months ago, a study came out talking about the healing benefits of red light on the eyes. It's like, yeah, but most of the light therapy devices out there are so high intensity. So people were trying this and literally harming. I heard of somebody that actually blinded themselves doing this. So don't try this with other light therapy products, please. Because for me, myself, like, I know what it's like when you're losing your vision, and I couldn't read books. I could barely read my phone screen. I'd have to close one eye. So when I started doing the eye protocol with the Rejuvenator, and immediately within the first week started getting clarity of vision, I could see again. I could see in low light conditions. 3 months later, I went and had my eyes checked again. There was absolutely no retinal thinning at all, no sign of damage, nothing at all, completely healed. And my contact lens prescription had already gone way down. So my eyes are stronger now than when I was in high school and I first started having to wear corrective lenses back, well, actually in elementary school. But anyway, all that to say, so there are huge differences. The other thing, the Rejuvenator is healing at the root of illness and disease. So when people are healing severe thyroid dysfunction, they've been medicated. I have a lot of medical doctors that were on thyroid medication. Within 1 to 2 weeks, they don't have to take their thyroid medication anymore because their thyroid is working the way that it's supposed to, because it's now getting the energy that it needs, and any damage that had occurred completely heals. So usually it's just not getting the energy that it needs. So it's either over-functioning or under-functioning. Cancer, complete healing of even stage 4 cancers, aggressive HER2 breast cancers, brain glioblastoma. I've got some of the videos on my YouTube channel from my medical, because I get invited to speak at major medical conferences as well, international medical conferences. So, and they started asking me a few years ago to start teaching about the quantum healing energies and the healing at the root of illness and disease. So, because that's beyond what the light therapy can do. So you have to address the energy body in order to be able to heal the physical body. Otherwise, you're just chasing symptoms again. So light therapy in general can heal, some basic things. It can make your skin look better. It can make, maybe clear up some eczema, superficial things. And what people will often hear, you hear, it's like it gives them a blast of energy and they feel energized temporarily, again, like that Red Bull effect, but it always goes away. So they have to keep doing the red light therapy treatments to get their energy. It's a replacement for a cup of coffee. It's a temporary fix because it's not putting energy into the system. It's just bringing the energy that's in there, calling it to the cells and giving you that little blast of energy, kind of like when you have a battery in a car. I don't know if most people are going to be able to relate to this, but I think a lot of people have had a dead battery in your car, and you can jumpstart a dead battery. If the battery is still good, if the battery still has enough charge and ability to hold the charge, once you start the battery and then you drive around the block a few times, you can turn off your car, the battery is now charged up enough, and you can start your car again. But a battery that's dead, you can jumpstart it, and you can drive around the block a bunch of times. You can drive it 20 miles. As soon as you turn off the car, the battery is still dead. You have to jumpstart it every time. So that's kind of equivalent to what the red light therapy devices are doing. They're giving you a little jumpstart on your battery and giving you a jolt of energy, but then it goes away and you have to do another treatment to jumpstart your car. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Rejuvenator fills up the life force energy gas tank. So it's not just giving you a temporary jolt, it's actually filling up the gas tank. So now you have a big reserve of energy. That's why people, and I designed it because I'm a consummate multitasker. I cannot sit still. Like me sitting here, having this conversation with you, it's extremely unusual that I sit down during the day at all. Like I don't ever sit down. I have so much energy, I'm going nonstop. But I do sit down in the evening when I shut down, get off my phone, get off my computer, and then I watch streaming video with a blue light blocker, by the way. And then that's kind of my relaxing downtime. So that's when I do my Rejuvenator treatments, because even though I'm perfectly healthy and I've healed everything, I have a terrible non-functioning liver, like literally all my life. For the first time ever, started using the Rejuvenator and finally healed my liver instead of just managing the fact that it didn't detoxify. So now I have a fully functional liver, healthier liver, stronger than when I was a teenager again. But I digress. So when my nighttime routine is I watch some streaming video. That's my wind down time. And then I do my Rejuvenator treatments while I'm actually laying in bed and watching streaming video. And you can do it while you're multitasking. Anytime you're sitting, working on the computer, eating breakfast, eating any meal, reading a book, watching, video or a movie or anything like that. Anytime you're sitting, I have people that work at a stand-up desk and they do their treatments while they're standing because, you can do the detox protocol, put on a hoodie, and it will hold it in place where you need to do the detox protocol. And there are different ways that you can even be doing your treatments while you're standing up. And I made it that way because again, I have to be able to use something myself. And I can't even fathom the concept of, standing in front of one of these things, if it actually provided any benefit and didn't feel just god awful standing in front of them. Because again, I have one. I've never used it since the very beginning. It's like, this is so unpleasant. Not only the fact that it's blasting you with this high intensity light, just the fact of like having to stand and do a treatment. It's so funny because, again, this is a concept that was developed by people that don't know anything about healing. Again, they're internet marketers. So and now you have all these copycats because they're like, hey, they're selling theirs for like $1,000. I can sell mine for 300 or 400 and still make a huge profit. And people will buy mine because it's exactly the same thing as these expensive $1,000 ones that have all these affiliates and all these, big level promoters of their product, which is where all that extra money is going. So anyway, and people are copycatting that design because they think that's where the big money is. But it's like they're copying, and nobody can copy the Rejuvenator anyway. It's impossible.
Right.
They can make something that will look like the Rejuvenator, but it's not going to provide the same healing benefits. So, and then you see that sometimes, I have like all these, wannabe knockoffs. They started showing up within the first year because the Rejuvenator was like spreading like wildfire around the globe. Right. And then you start getting these copycats and they're like, this looks just like the Rejuvenator. It's like, I bought one and it didn't do anything. It felt terrible. I actually had people that were like measuring their heart rate using these copycats, and their heart rate was like going off the charts. And then they'd use the Rejuvenate in the same video, and it's like zen, calm. It's like, just because something, like a fake Rolex, it's a fake Rolex. It's not
right.
So
wait, hold on. So Leanne, so you have 4 different units plus one on the way. Yeah. I went with the universal one. Do you want to quickly just break down quick what the 1, what the 2, what the 3, what the 4 is, and what maybe a little bit about the new one?
Okay, so the universal, the number 3 formulation, that is the one that 98% of my customers, when they're only buying one formulation, they get the universal. It does pretty much everything that you can want. From, healing skin to treating cancer to, healing thyroid, healing Lyme disease, detoxifying the body. It does everything. The number 3 does everything that the number 1 does and everything that the number 2 does, plus more. So it's like the sum of the parts is greater than the whole, or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, whatever that expression is. It does more than number 1. Number 1 is more addressed. Like, I have some estheticians that don't want the, to penetrate and go deep through bone. They just want super fit. Very few people have the number 1 formulation. Very few people have the number 2 formulation, because most people want all of that. They want the deep healing and they want the anti-aging. So they want the skin healing and getting rid of wrinkles and plumping up your skin in your face and brightening your skin and looking like 20 years younger in the first few weeks, kind of stuff. So everybody, men and women, believe it or not. So, so chronically ill people also want to look good. So that's why everybody gets the number 3, because it does everything that the number 1 and number 2 do, plus a lot more, like the sleep protocol and healing thyroid and healing cancer and stuff, which the 1 and 2 are separate. Anyway, the number 3 is the reason it's called the universal is because it literally does everything universally. Now, the number 4 formulation that has a combination of blue and red and the quantum healing energies, that one, when I launched it, I knew it was going to do a lot more than just the antibacterial stuff. So it's very effective for healing any kind of infected tissue, healing things like MRSA, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which is an antibiotic-resistant infection that people often get when they go into the hospital. They often go in for something innocuous into the hospital, get a MRSA infection, and end up dying from the MRSA infection. So the number 4 formulation heals MRSA, heals severe acne, like pustular acne, cystic acne, heals that. It targets the bacteria directly, kills the bacteria, and heals the tissue and all of that. So it does all of that. But It also heals whenever there is anything related to kidney bladder issue. Like as people get older, their kidney energy declines. That's kind of that life force energy. The pool reservoir is in the kidneys. So that gas tank essentially in the specifically kidney energy, which is where people start getting accelerated aging. Their hair turns gray, their hair falls out, their teeth start decaying, and falling out. They start getting osteoporosis, osteopenia. Those are all controlled. Bones, teeth, hair, graying of hair, is all controlled by kidney energy and more stuff. When people get hunched over, their back starts, humping over. That's declining kidney energy. So when people have severe chronic toxicity, like from Lyme disease or cancer, that these are the applications where we've seen when you bring in the number 4 formulation as an adjunct to the number 3, it accelerates the healing benefits. So you get faster healing results. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you've got a chocolate chip cookie and the chocolate chip cookie tastes great, and it's got all made with all this love and, but sometimes you want to have some walnuts in there because you need the extra nutrients from the walnuts. So it's like adding in some walnuts into your chocolate chip cookie. So it adds to the benefit. So I don't know if that's a good analogy. That one just came to me off the top of my head.
No, totally. Okay, so let me. I have a question. So I know I'm going to get these questions, and instead of waiting for them to answer, let's. I'm going to fire you off a few conditions and tell them which one would be best for them. Okay. So depression and anxiety.
Number 3, because there's a specific depression anxiety protocol. It's 4 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Cardiovascular.
And also PTSD, severe trauma, emotional trauma. It's the same protocol. I've got a video on YouTube. It's about how to heal your PTSD quickly. People can watch that and learn how the depression anxiety protocol is usually a one-time treatment, and then it provides a complete, factory data reset, as I call it. Yet people feel like their underlying anxiety that they may have had for years is gone. Depression gone. So unless people are still taking antidepressants, which continues to create depression, believe it or not. Anyway, but people, if they're not on antidepressants, it's like a 1 or 2 time treatment.
Okay. So then cardiovascular stuff, including like sleep apnea. So high blood pressure, heart stuff, all of that.
Yes. So again, thinking of the whole system, the number 3 formulation is going to heal all of that. So it's going to heal the lung energy, the heart energy, all of that, because it's healing, putting energy into the system. People will manifest physical disorders based on the energy system that is the one that's targeted, or where they get the beaver dam showing up. So, and there might be a root in something else that then overflows and starts affecting that other system. So all of that heart disease and, blood pressure, that's where you see some people, it's like, oh my God, my blood, I wasn't even trying to treat my blood pressure. I was just doing the protocols, and now I don't have high blood pressure anymore. So because it's healing the whole system. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Hormonal stuff. So the infertility, the PCOS, the endometriosis, everything under the hormonal stuff.
Yeah, that's number 3 again. We've had people that have completely healed. One of my very active community members, who's now become a personal friend, Ruth Naus in Germany. She's a naturopathic doctor in Germany. So she specializes in thyroid and Lyme disease, but for herself, she had uterine fibroids for years and completely healed those. Had tried, all kinds of stuff. Anyway, but we've now had several dozen people that have healed uterine fibroids, PCOS, cysts, when people have ovarian cysts, all that kind of stuff. So that's the number 3. Hormonal people. Again, I love the stories. I've had people that were, had been trying to get pregnant for ages, and then they just kind of maybe we're just not meant to have a baby, and they give up. Kind of, they're not even trying anymore. And then they get the Rejuvenator, and the husband and the wife are using it for treating, not trying to get pregnant. they're just doing treatments for whatever it is that they got the Rejuvenator for. And then like a month later, this is a specific story, but they're like, we're pregnant. We weren't even trying it. We're 100% sure it's from the Rejuvenator. So I've had people that have become fertile, much more fertile, so that then they can conceive. I've had women that have used their Rejuvenator, nurses and other people, throughout their entire pregnancy, and they have these super babies. The babies are born and they're so robust, and they're like, ahead of all the markers and all this stuff. I've had people that didn't use the Rejuvenator when they were pregnant. They had a baby that had all kinds of health issues, was already being medicated by the medical doctors, for things like gas and indigestion and things the baby couldn't nurse. And anyway, and within the first few treatments, or one or two, kind of all the problems the baby was having completely healed. Babies love it. Babies they start gurgling and cooing. And when you
is that with a 3, with a universal for babies?
Yes, again, the number 3. So the number 3 literally is universal. Anyway, go ahead. What other?
Okay, so there's that. Now, what about the things like the Lyme disease and autoimmune conditions?
Yeah, so Lyme and autoimmune. The root of that is there's a high level of toxicity in the system, and it's not just from the Lyme. The Lyme, and can I talk about Lyme briefly for a second?
Yeah, for sure, of course.
Okay, so Lyme disease, just like any, HPV, EBV, herpes, all these viruses that are living in our physical body, latent, they don't rear their ugly head until the physical body and the energy body immunity gets so weak that now the virus can flare up. So sometimes people will be like, they start feeling sick and then they go get tested for Lyme, and it's like, oh, you have Lyme. You probably had that for a very long time, or maybe they get bitten by a tick and they know exactly when it happened. But I'm going to use another analogy or another specific type of virus. So you've heard of shingles? Are you still there? You know what shingles are? Did we cut out? What happened? Hello? Are you there? Lesley?
Yes, of course I know what shingles are, of course.
Oh, okay, because you cut out. I didn't hear you responding. Okay, so some people don't know. Shingles is like an outbreak on the skin where it's like it affects the nerves. It's extremely excruciatingly painful. You have these open sores that typically will be along the gallbladder meridian again. But anyway, it's a very painful condition. People usually don't get shingles until they're older, like 50s, 60s, 70s, and all of a sudden they've never had shingles in their life, and all of a sudden they get shingles. The shingles virus comes from the chickenpox virus that they got when they were in elementary school. So they've had that virus in their body their entire life. Never had a flare-up from the virus because their physical body immunity and energy body immunity was doing its job and was strong enough to keep that virus in check. So the problem is never the virus. The problem is that the physical body and energy body immunity gets so weak that the virus can now flare up. Or if somebody gets bitten by a tick and they're already weak, then yes, they can start getting symptoms right away. But so you don't worry about treating the virus. You treat the body and the host. So you strengthen that. So that's where this is very popular with people in the Lyme community. So we have tons of people that have completely healed from all of their long-standing Lyme disease symptoms. And some will have way more than others. Some are like, I've got this handful of things. I feel this exhaustion. They have that. But the Lyme itself, and the co-infections, they make all this more toxins. So the Rejuvenator detoxifies all of that, gets rid of all the toxins in the system, heals the root, puts the energy back into the system. So now the body can deal with this pathogen the way that it normally would. And that's one of the things we're adding in the number 4. So we started seeing that and that again was Ruth, she was the one that discovered that. So she started adding in the number 4 with her Lyme disease patients and was like, oh, this actually gives a boost and it actually accelerates the healing. So now we have a lot of people that have done that. So that's one time. But I always tell people, it's like start off with the number 3 and then intuitively, if like a few weeks down the line, a few months down the line, because you're going to start seeing healing and improvement immediately and you're going to go up and up. And then sometimes people are like, it's amazing. Like I have all this energy now, and I feel like I just want to get rid of the rest of the stuff, and I want to bring in the number 4 to kind of like get through the, the finish line. So they'll do that. But we've had all kinds of people that have just treated Lyme and cancer with the number 3 without, and same thing with these, autoimmune issues, and they all fall into the same category. They're all basically, there's just so much toxicity in the system that you've got all these beaver dams blocking the free flow of energy. Fibromyalgia, that's another one. It's basically you have so much pain in your body. Anywhere that the energy can't reach, where that beaver dam is, that's going to create pain. And then the bigger the beaver dam gets, it just like gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Then the pain spreads and spreads and spreads. And then some people are just like their entire body hurts. So the Rejuvenator is very good for very quickly clearing out those beaver dams. So that's where I've had a bunch of people, it's like I've had people that were bedridden for a year from a stroke, and within a week they're up and, and so depressed that they don't even want to live anymore. And then within a week they're like up and, cleaning the house, and they've got their life back. So amazing. Like I knew from day one, nobody's going to believe all this stuff because it's so, miraculous. You hear these miraculous stories all the time. So I created the Rejuvenator community where everybody, all of my customers get to join this for free, and they get free ongoing healing guidance and support from myself and now also my apprentices. Because I wanted to teach people. I don't want to give a man a fish or a woman a fish. I want to teach a man or woman to fish, so that you're going to learn not only like how you're going to heal now, but you're never like, we're always going to go in and out of balance. It's like, that's just part of life. But when you understand and you're in tune and connected with your body, and you understand when you're starting to go out of balance, you can bring yourself back into balance with the Rejuvenator before you ever, go out of balance. Like maybe you're super busy and you've had a high stress week and you're not eating this. I speak from experience because I do this usually, not eating, not taking the time to eat. I'm not drinking enough water, and I can go for a very long time doing that. And I push my limits often. I'm like, how far can I throw myself out of balance? And then I'll be like, okay, do a Rejuvenator treatment. And then it's like, reset, everything's good again. That's after you're already healed, obviously. So, but anyway, we're constantly going in and out of balance. We're always going to do that. So you have this, we have people that bought during the launch. I only launched 5.5 years ago. And again, we've got tens of thousands of people using Rejuvenator therapy all around the world, all from word of mouth. So people from day one, and myself included, you still want to do your Rejuvenator treatments like not every day, every other day. I mean, you crave it because it's like our cell phones. We need to charge up our battery every day. And it's not something you tell yourself, I should do a Rejuvenate. You just like crave it, and you make it part of your daily routine because it feels amazing. And why wouldn't you? If I can have full energy, and talk nonstop. Some of my friends are like, God, you talk a lot. I know.
Wait, so hold on. Let's wait. You're digressing. So, okay. So a few more categories and just a quick answer. So thyroid stuff, would that be categorized still with the endocrine system and the hormonal, so still with 3?
Yes, there's actually a specific thyroid protocol. And again, Ruth was one that came up with that. So it's part, and I tell people to do it as part of your sleep protocol because you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And complete like off the meds within 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay, and we know that Maya, my dog, loves it. So pets, it's safe for pets, it's safe for kids. There's no one that it's not safe for, any age, any condition.
No, not at all. It's, again, because it's healing the root and it's filling up the gas tank. So, but this is very common when people first get their Rejuvenate. This is probably the most popular type of photo that gets shared in the community because people get their Rejuvenator, they turn it on the first time, and they've got a dog or a cat or multiple dogs. Yeah. Oh my God, I turned it on. My dog is like, like pushing me out of the way. It's like I have to compete with my dog for my Rejuvenator treatment. So I always tell them, you need to do your treatment and then leave it turned on for the dog, prop it up somewhere so he or she can go lay in it, or the cats will want to lay right on top of it. And they know, and then they might, if they've got something going on that you might not even be aware of. My dog's seems healthy, but it's like, but they know, it's like they fill up their gas tank. They may want to do a treatment of like an hour or 2 hours, and it's like, it's fine. They'll know when they're done. Just leave it. Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing.
Same thing with what?
Babies,
Oh,
infants.
babies. Okay, cool.
They will gravitate towards it. I have people with young children, and they're like, "Mommy, like I want the light. Give me the light," and they'll just take it and they'll stick it on their abdomen. Like it covers their almost their entire body.
Yeah,
So
and that's another thing. So, the close proximity. So with the Rejuvenator, you put it directly on your skin. Like it doesn't. It's warm, but it doesn't get too hot.
no,
But so for instance, like myself, I'm going to set up a treatment room so I can have my clients coming in, booking sessions and having like a revolving door and just letting people use it even before they buy it.
yeah.
When they're going to be lying on the bed, it's not going to be direct contact, but the benefit is still as good.
Yeah, because you don't have to be, I mean, you're going to be treating the whole body. And again, with the
Yeah.
Rejuvenator, you don't have to treat the whole body. But the benefit of having a whole bed, especially because I've got a lot of medical facilities that have a whole bed set up, or biohacking facilities. There's one that was featured in Forbes magazine not that long ago, in the Philippines, whole body Rejuvenator bed. The benefit is that you're going to put all that energy into the whole body. So it's going to be, a higher quantity in, like you can do a 20-minute treatment laying on the bed. The 20 minutes is the time that it takes for the quantum healing energies to fully circulate the energy body. So anytime you're doing a treatment, even if you're doing like just the abdomen, those healing energies are going to circulate the entire energy body if you do the 20-minute treatment. And you can do longer than that. But the benefit of the bed, so you don't have to be like right on top of it, because you're going to get a higher amount. That's going to be, you're basically like, as opposed to, like, watering, like you have a plant and you take the spray and you water just the root area.
Yeah.
You can water just the root and that's where it's going to go. Or you can take a bigger spray and water the whole thing all the way around the plant. And it's going to be like, you can probably get the whole system watered in less time than doing just putting the water at the root. It's not really less time. It's not a time thing. It's just more water that's going to cover the whole root system instead of the
Right.
That's another analogy I just came up with now. So I don't know if it's the best one, but
it makes sense. It makes
yeah.
sense. And like even yesterday during a Reiki session, I just had the light on in the space. Obviously, it wasn't directly. And the other night, I had a massage, and the same thing. I had the light fill. It was it was like essentially filling the room.
Yes.
So I think that's awesome. Okay, so there's probably a million more things that could be discussed, but we're over an hour already. And maybe we'll just have to have you come back so we can do more. But what I think is going to happen is many people are going to listen to this podcast, and there's going to be a ton of questions. So
Yeah.
I think what I'll do is I will generate a whole bunch of questions, and then maybe we'll have you come back on and we'll just fire through like
Okay.
those questions. But to summarize, if you've fallen victim of red light panels, I'm sorry. I was a victim myself. And if anybody wants it, it's free for pickup. Or just gonna throw it in the garbage because like I've never turned it on. I've literally never turned it on, and I'm sure I spent about $1,000 on it.
Mhm.
Or I'll donate it to somebody. But
Don't donate it to somebody that has any real illness because it will make them
right.
worse.
I'm probably just gonna throw it out. So, unless you want to have like a fun sex room with a red light, I'll give it to you. See, there's always somebody for something. So we know that the traditional red lights on the markets, one, they're excessively overpriced. Two, they're high in EMFs. They're made from toxic chemicals as well, which I think is important to note. And even though like some people may say, oh, but like my skin's so much better, Leanne kind of touched on it at the point that it's going to give the cells a little something, but it's not going to go into the depth, into the root, into the that functional healing that people are thinking they may be getting from those traditional red lights. And we learned a bit about how that marketing all works versus a full encompassing healing product that works for everybody, that's safe, that doesn't have the EMF load, that's not using toxic chemicals. And also, what I love that Leanne did was on the board, she's made like it's almost like a universal cord. So it doesn't matter. Well, I don't think, and you can correct me, but depending on where you live, you can use the cord and change. The cord's interchangeable. So if I decide to move to the UK tomorrow I can take my panels and just pick up a cord for $6-7, and now
Yep.
I have the right cord. The other thing
Yep.
is making sure that when you are using these, you got to watch Leanne's video, because I fucked it up in the beginning and I didn't have the cord properly secured, and I was like, dude, you got to make this better. She's like, no, you got to fucking plug it in right and watch the video. And I was like, okay.
Okay, I didn't see it like that. I said it gently because yes, there is a video. It's like you have to. I made the power cord so it's removable, so that anywhere in the world you can get a standard computer power cord and plug it in. You don't deal with transformers and all these, and it works.
Right.
The bolt works anywhere in the world because I have so many thousands and thousands of customers, like all
Right.
around the world. But but you do have to plug it in and push it in because I designed it to be a really nice tight fit. You don't want to be doing, a treatment on your back and then you realize, oh damn, the power cord fell out halfway through.
Yeah,
So
that was my first few days with it,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I was with we went away with a bunch of girls, and I was like, hey guys, you gotta be really careful because it's really fucking delicate and it doesn't fit. And my other friend there, who's like an engineer, she's like, no, there's something's not right. There's gotta be a way to fix this. And I'm like, no, it's just
it was not pushed in all the way.
I know. So then once I figured that out, it's beautiful. It's lovely. I absolutely love it. I'm thankful for Lisa Borden for connecting me to you, and for me being able to find this, and now to like take it to a whole new audience that can now follow you, and will plug all your Instagram and your websites. The website's a little confusing, but if you just have a little bit of patience, you can figure it out. And if you guys do decide to purchase, and I really, now that the podcast will come out, I'm going to start talking about it more on my Instagram as well, so that, I've kind of been teasing people about it. But now that we've had this conversation and I have somewhere to, throw people back to listen to this podcast, it makes me feel more comfortable. And just if you do decide to buy, guys, let Leanne know that you heard about it on the podcast or that you heard about it through me. Just use my name. And, everybody deserves to have this. And I only wish Leanne so much more success. I don't know if you talked about the new product that you have coming out, but I'm excited to get it. Leanne was generous enough to allow me to be part of her group and sell me one before it comes out, but that's a green panel. Did you talk about it at all?
I'll talk about it briefly. I don't want it. Yeah, it's already. I have a research group right now because, like with the number 4, over 5.5 years, we've discovered more and more applications for the number 4 with the blue and as I knew, I wanted to start this one. I knew that it's the Rejuvenator. It does a whole series of things, but I knew that it was going to do a lot more than just, these are the things that I know it's going to do. So I started with a research group of people that are working with patients and clients. So we've been doing that just for the last few weeks, and the results have been incredible. It's an adjunct to the number 3, but it accelerates the healing effects of anything that has to do with spleen, stomach energy, liver, gallbladder energy. So there are a huge number of symptoms that are affected by, those are the 2 biggest energy systems that get disrupted in Western society, coming from stress often and unhealthy diet, which but the stress is the big thing, and it will tax those 2 energy systems. Anyway, so very fast healing effects with the Rejuvenator. Again, it's designed as an adjunct to the number 3. So the universal is still always going to have there are going to be certain protocols with the number 3 that the Rejuvenator, it's not like a replacement, but it's like a really big accelerant for these 2 energy systems that are kind of the biggest ones that get disrupted. So when you're talking about, weight gain, inability to lose weight, high level toxicity, those 2 things in the body that, create more and more beaver dams. So, the Rejuvenator, I'll be launching it. I'm only going to initially make it available to the people that are already in the Rejuvenator community because we already have so much interest. And then when I get the next shipment in, it'll be then we'll launch it to the public. So the people that are in the Rejuvenator community are going to be the first ones that will get to purchase it. But yeah, we're already getting some really incredible results. And again, these are practitioners that are using it with themselves and with their patients. Yeah, but that's, coming down the road. So,
You
but it
guys will
doesn't mean
still be
it's not ever going to be a replacement for the number three. So if people are like, oh, I'm going to wait for the green Rejuvenator, it's still an adjunct. So, but for the price point for these formulations, I mean, you get like have these full system healing tools that you can then use like for the rest of your life. They all of the Rejuvenator formulations and the green Rejuvenator, they're rated to last 50,000 hours or longer. But and the LEDs, they don't burn out. They don't burn out. They'll like, and 50,000 hours equates to like many years of use, even if you had it turned on 24 hours a day, which most people don't do that. But anyway, so, and one unit can treat the whole family, like everybody in your family. But what I often see, and this is also how it spreads, I get like a husband and wife, for example, and they're like, well, we're going to get one number three universal. We're going to get one and we're going to share it. And then within usually about 3 weeks, they come back and they order another one because they're like fighting over whose turn it is. And they think it's like, I want to do the sleeper audit. No, we're watching a movie and I want to be able to do the Rejuvenator treatments while but it's my turn. So anyway, so they end up coming back because it pays for itself extremely quickly. I mean,
Oh yeah, I agree with that, and I actually think that you have very reasonable pricing for what you're getting. I think listen,
oh yeah.
you
Well,
want
and
to
that was
invest
very
in your
important.
health, anyways, right? Like I tell people that, like people will go out and drink Starbucks every day, and then they'll tell me my CBD is too expensive. I'm like, stop drinking Starbucks, and you have
I know.
a year's supply. But Leanne, we will plug all of your links and so forth so people can find you.
Okay.
And we'll leave all the notes in the comments, in the what do you call it? Podcast notes there.
Good.
And reach out to Leanne, guys. You'll follow her on Instagram. Once you are a customer, you'll get access to her Facebook group, which is really informative. I've looked in there several times because I like to learn, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of information there. And as somebody that's going to offer it, to local clients and whatnot, I
Mhm.
think it's important. And one last question, Leanne, if I were to fall asleep with it on and it stayed on all night, is there any issues besides
No,
it maybe
no
calming down
issues at all.
anxiety?
You might have a little pool of sweat on your chest from. I can't tell you how many people fall asleep, especially the first few times because you go from being wide awake to like you're sleeping and snoring away. That's
I know,
how I
I
that's how I
know.
discovered the sleep protocol. So you're like I fell asleep with it, or I woke up an hour later. I slept with it the whole night. No, there's no negative to that other than like you might like if you're you might have a little pool of sweat on your chest from
Okay,
having
cool.
it on you for that long. But yeah, and I've had people that have fallen asleep with it and had like accelerated healing for something, not just the getting the sleep, but it's like, oh my god, I fell asleep with it. I woke up the next day and my hip didn't hurt anymore. You know, so.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I thank you for bringing your immense and abundance of knowledge and expertise to the Holistic Bitches Unfiltered, and I have a feeling we'll have you back um, to do a more targeted session. But I'm really looking forward to people hearing this. I'm really looking to, spreading your message and your products and your wisdom and your ability to help people. And that's what we're here for. We're healers to help people. So thank you. And I can't wait to air the episode and for people to learn and to become consumers and more mouthpieces to share with family, friends, pets, loved ones, etc. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for the amazing work that you're doing in the world to help so many people. It's like we need more people like you, more and
Oh,
more.
thank you. I appreciate that. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm sure you had a laugh, a what the fuck moment, and you walk away with some knowledge. Until next time, guys, peace out from the Holistic Bitches Unfiltered. See you on the flip side. Take care. Bye.